Hey, everybody, what's going on? What's hot? What's hip? What's happening? What's shaking on your Monday? Hope you had a great weekend. Tonight, I am going to tell you about typewriters. Behind me is probably my favorite typewriter, the IBM Selectric. We'll get into it. This sucker probably weighs 300 pounds. I mean, heavy. These typewriters, all that green stuff there, that's like wrought iron. That's like metal, man. Anyway. The Doctorn. Oh, by the way, like, share, subscribe, notification bell, retweet, all those free things that you can do for us, especially the like. That help us with the almighty algorithm. The almighty algorithm. The almighty must be obeyed, ever powerful algorithm. Then also we have memberships and super chats. Our goal, we have a goal. All the good shows do. I don't have any pending felony charges like some other shows that have a goal. But our goal is every night, any amount of money. And then please turn on your gifted memberships. It tells how to down in the crawl. That way, if somebody gifts memberships, you'll get a freebie. Doctorn says, there he is, Mr. Lucky, the legend, the myth, the man, the only stone green host, the Tom Gully. That's me. Thunderous applause. And I think this is the last season, at least that's what he says, of Not Even a Show that rated me stone green. So who knows how long I'll be able to make a big deal out of that. Gene1313 says, hey, Tom. Hey to all here tonight. Hey to you, Gene. Doctorn says, hey to Gene, the most cheerful chat room on the internet, as verified by independent searches. I always want to say Gene1313. Maybe it harkens back to my deep love of the Gong Show and Gene, the dancing machine. It's hard to say. Running low on Red Bull. Might have to get some more before the show's over. People saying hi. There is the lovely and talented Karen Garvey. Always good to see her. Noga Chaser says, Skull, Tom. Can we stop down for just a second since our good friend Noga Chaser has showed up? Stuttering John's screaming of Noga is easily in my top 5 most annoying things that he does. And his little story about what he thought it meant and all that other stuff, it makes it even worse. But the screaming and bellowing, sometimes late at night, I will watch one of the shows, not live. And I'll have it set for Shuley and all those guys, the volume. And then he comes on, and I think people 3 blocks away. But anyway, when he starts, it's just like, what an idiot. Hello, Tom in chat, says Karen Garvey. Star Mountain is here, says, love the Gong Show. Oh, man, the Gong Show was so great. And where I lived, it was on sort of in the probably 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, maybe a little later, but we could watch it all summer. And that show was like a very loose game show, very loose. And it was just them screwing around. And that was the fun part of it. Oh, man, our goal has been met and shattered by our good friend Doctorn. Skull, says Doctorn. Doctorn, thank you so much. Very generous of you. Thank you for the $10. Very generous. Noga says, I agree, Tom. SJ is an idiot. Well, it's just, I saw your name, and there's certain things that he does that, as you all know, I'm not really hardcore Dabbleverse. I'm what I like to call Dabbleverse adjacent. I am the Duke of Dabbleverse adjacent, and well, I'll just get into it. One of the other things he does that just, if I could crawl through the computer, the eating of the plums and chewing and all that. Does he have anybody in his life that can sit his ass down and say, that's not funny, It's not interesting. It makes you look like a moron. And it's disgusting. The screaming of Noga. And by the way, I've been watching this last thing here for at least 6 months. I don't even know what it means. I just know it's dumb as hell and I don't like it. And that's when he does the elephant thing or whatever he's doing. I guess you're just supposed to be born knowing what that means, because anybody walking up in that show and watching it and seeing that, you're not going to know what it means. Not in a million years. Aku says the fact that he has the mental capacity to not breathe manually is nothing short of medical mystery. Randy, the chef, is in the house. Randy, I got your picture. I'm going to convert it, and I'll show it on tomorrow night's show. It's a picture of this chef with some banquet he's laid out or some food he's put up for some folks. People saying hail to Dupa and Doctorn. People saying hi. The most cheerful chat room on the internet. We're very proud of that. And it's been verified by independent sources. So, yeah. But boy, oh boy. There's just a few things that... and one of them is the screaming of Noga. That's really high on the list. And the other one's the other thing I had mentioned there. What the hell is that supposed to mean? I feel like at least 75% of the stuff he says and does is just him trying to be cool or doing things he thinks is cool or trying to be Dice. He tries to be Dice really hard. He tries to be Howard really hard too. By the way, today's collar update. This actually was a Fort Wayne Comets hockey. And the Fort Wayne Comets are other than the original 6 in the NHL, and I think the Hershey Bears, they're the oldest continuous hockey team in North America. And when I bought this shirt, I got like 4 shirts at once, t-shirts. They were on sale. And I got this in like 2008, maybe 2008. So this is a 16-year-old shirt. 16 years old. Pretty young one by my standards on this show. And I'm still kicking John's ass on collars. Look at it. I could, if I really wanted to get crazy, I could show you the fold on the sleeve. I mean, you just got to take care of your stuff, John. Aku say, Noga is Shuli's dead mother's name. I know that. Again, he does things he thinks will bother other people, but it will bother him. Yeah, I know that. And then he said, I thought it was Toga. I was doing Toga from... Please. Sounds like a better team than the Leafs. Oh, much better team than the Leafs. The Fort Wayne Comets, man, oh man, do we have rafters filled. They're in the Central Hockey League now. They're just, or maybe it's the East Coast, but I think it's the Central. I can't remember. Maybe it is the East Coast now. But the Allen County War Memorial Stadium is filled, and I love a War Memorial Stadium, by the way. It's filled with banners, a lot of championships, and they fill that thing. I think they lead in attendance every year. They fill that sucker. I'm telling you, just push me. I'll play the Fort Wayne Comets goal horn. Do I need to play the goal horn here? What the hell? Watch me get dinged for it. I got a few minutes here. Well, not that long actually. Goal horn. The goal horn is what is the noise that it makes after you score. Well, these are all new ones. I want the old one. Ooh, here's the history. The goal horn history. Oh, I don't want the whole damn million years of it. I just want the... Ah, crap. Let's put your request. Yeah, I'll play you the one from... What is this? 2000. This is an old one. Hey! Hey! Now listen for the bells, because the bells are going to sound during the... That's how many goals we scored. So that's a short one. I guarantee you I will get dinged for that. Guarantee you. Shouldn't have played it. Body of a sewer reservoir, mind of an 8-year-old. Oh boy. Doctrine says, I dare you to play the goal horn. Tyranny says, score. So great. So freaking awesome. The goal horn. The whole place going crazy. And then, and it's like 14,000 people just doing this. And then at the end, like if the score was Comets 3, Muskegon Mallards 2, the goal horn would give you 1, 2, 3 gongs. It's really cool. I love me some Fort Wayne Comets. But what I love more than that is me, again, scoreboarding John. I think this is the youngest shirt I've had on. It's 16 years old, for Christ's sakes. Me thinks it's worth the ding. Well, maybe they'll just make me take it out. But they can't. Man, if I get hit with another copyright thing. Oh, wait, I won that one appeal, so I guess I've got 0. But still, you don't want to... This topic today, typewriters, it's actually way larger than I ever thought. I could probably do a week on typewriters. You know, why are typewriters important? I hear you cry out. Well, here's the deal. And you youngsters may not remember this as you greet each other, but Gutenberg invented the printing press. You could actually duplicate words on a page. The same words, but words on a page. At a certain point, Terry says, I inhale French fries. Well, Terry, it's interesting that you say that because just this morning, my dear sainted mother and I were talking, and I told her I was craving a hamburger. Now, if you're a single guy like me, sometimes you buy hamburger, but you're buying hamburger knowing about hamburger. It doesn't keep for a tremendously long period of time, so you're going to be eating hamburger for the next 2 to 3 days. And I told my mom I'm craving a hamburger. I mean, I've got a grill here and all that, but I want another person's hamburger. I want a Wendy's or a Whataburger or some just greasy. And I told her I was going to do that because I had some errands to run today. And I got around driving, and I was thinking about the fries. I was thinking about the fries really hard. And I started driving around doing my errands, and I wasn't hungry, so I didn't go. There you go. There you are. So at a certain point, people needed a way to have something other than printing by hand. They needed a way to make type without having to set type like you would use for a newspaper or something. So that's what a typewriter is. It's a mechanical, sometimes it's electrical, mechanical machine that types characters of the alphabet. Typically, there's an array of keys that allow you to print one letter every time you strike, one of the buttons. Usually, there's an ink ribbon. So that allows the typewriter to make super legible, evenly spaced. It's awesome. The first commercial typewriters were introduced in 1874, but they were not common in the offices of the United States until after the mid 1880s. So think about it, 1880s until the 1980s. Typewriters were the deal. They were standard. Everybody had one and used one. It quickly became an indispensable tool for all writing except handwritten correspondence. And professional writers used it, businesses used it, students used it. Starting in the 80s, though, they began to be phased out in favor of word processors and other things. They're still used today in many places in the world that don't have reliable electricity, or in situations that have to be mobile. There's a few markets, shall we say, that actually still use typewriters to this day, and they might surprise you. One of the fixtures of keyboards, at least as we know them here in these United States, by the way, here's an early attempt at a typewriter. I don't know about you, but no thank you. The keyboard layout probably deserves its own topic, but the one we use, and you guys are probably familiar with this, is called QWERTY, QWERTY, and it was used in favor of just alphabetical order on the keys, which is how keyboards started on typewriters. And QWERTY was developed with a lot of different factors. There's a lot of controversy around it. A lot of people think it favors left-handed people and all this crazy stuff. But QWERTY is the standard for English language keyboards of any kind, computer or typewriter. So there you go. The thing about typewriters was, as effective as they were, as awesome as they were, their invention was like in very small increments. It's not like some other things we've covered where they decide they want to do something and then these huge breakthroughs start taking place. No. What happened with the typewriter is a million people came out with their idea of how a typewriter should work, and therefore there were tons of different successful typewriters, but none of them were like each other. So you couldn't get a replacement part. They were completely different. Okay? Historians have estimated that in some form or another, the typewriter was invented 52 times, 5-2, as inventors tried to come up with a workable design. Most of these other designs, yes, they would type things onto a piece of paper, but they weren't really that functional or practical. Some early attempts at typing include a 1575 Italian printmaker who invented a machine to impress letters into a paper. In 1714, a man in Great Britain obtained a patent that appears to be similar from other things to the modern typewriter. Another Italian in 1872, he developed a typewriter to enable his blind sister to write. Another Italian invented a typewriter for a blind person. The Italians were big into the typewriter. Big. As a matter of fact, here is a very popular brand of typewriter. Back in the day, there were certain brands of anything but an IBM Selectric, a manual typewriter like this one that didn't use electricity. And this was called an Olivetti. And Olivettis were known because they were very elegant. They were very stylistic, and they were very small. They were compact and could be sort of taken and expanded. So Olivetti's were a great typewriter to have, and Italian. By the mid-1900s, the increasing pace of communication made the need for a mechanized way to write things down super important. Stenographers and telegraphers could take down information at rates of up to 130 words a minute, whereas a writer with a pen was limited to a maximum of about 30 words a minute, and that was the speed record in 1853. From 1829 to 1870, many printing or typing machines were patented in Europe and America, but none of them went into commercial production. However, by 1900, several notable typewriter manufacturers included Remington. That's right, Remington was a big typewriter brand. IBM, Godrej, which you don't hear of anymore. Imperial Typewriter Company, don't hear about it. Oliver Typewriter Company, very popular typewriters. Olivetti, very popular. Royal Typewriter, very popular. Smith Corona, very popular. Underwood, there's some others, but those are the biggies. What the hell did I just do? What in the high holy? Lost my spot. What a bunch of hooey. Anyway, the very first commercially sold typewriter was the Hanson Ball typewriter. And it was called that because there's a ball there. So that's why it was called that. And that one was produced in only uppercase characters. Kind of a prototype of a typewriter that would print cheaper and faster, but that writing ball never changed. And they patented that ball, which would become important later because the IBM Selectric used a ball to print with. That real nasty typewriter that I showed you was called a Scholes and Glidden typewriter. A lot of the typewriters that began, if you've seen a manual typewriter or even an IBM Selectric, manual typewriter, you know that what's called the platen. The platen is the round thing that you get the paper to go through the typewriter. That actually moves on a typewriter. The base remains the same, but that platen moves and the letters strike in the same place every time. There, for a long time, were typewriters that were known as index typewriters. And on an index typewriter, it was really weird. It had two rails on it, and then it had this piece that would slide. And as you wrote, type a letter, that piece would slide over. And there were several different kinds that did that. And it's weird, too, because it's a big piece of wood, some rails, and then a piece of metal about this big. There you go. So one of the sort of more interesting typewriters that I'll show you here real quick is, this is the Scholes Glidden typewriter, which to me looks like it has spiders living in it. But what do I know? Is that a QWERTY? That's a QWERTY, yep. This is kind of an interesting typewriter. It looks like it would be awful to use, frankly. But it looks really nice and well made and stuff and things and whatnot. Let's see here. Standardization. About 1910, the manual or mechanical typewriter had reached a somewhat standardized design. There were minor variations from one manufacturer to another, but most typewriters followed the concept that each key was attached to a type bar that had a corresponding letter molded in reverse into its striking head. So there you go. The platen was mounted on a carriage that moved horizontally, and when it reached the end, you'd hear that ding, and you had to bring it back over. Yeah. Interestingly, the first typewriters where the type bar struck the paper and actually made the letter, that area was on the underside of the platen. So you couldn't tell what you were writing. You couldn't see it. You couldn't read it. And that's when some guy for the company that made the Doherty visible typewriter in 1893, he figured out a way to make it strike on the front. It's called front striking, so that you can actually see what you're writing and what you're typing. In 1878, the shift key was introduced with the Remington No. 2 typewriter, and that's what would shift the letters so that the type bar would have a small a and a big A. When you hit the shift, it would make the big A hit. So there you go. 3 bank typewriters. That just means there's 3 rows to type with. Originally, it was 2. Dead keys on typewriters. Typewriters have what were called dead keys because, let's say I make a typewriter and I'm selling it to the United States. Well, off my typewriter goes. I don't have to do anything to it. All the punctuation, all the letters are there. However, if I then sell that typewriter in France or Spain or Germany, there are accents that go with the letters, umlauts and other things. You would press the dead key, okay, the dead key to get one of those accents or something that wasn't standard to the keyboard. We could get into character sizes, points, and pitch, and things of that nature. Olivetti's and Elites were known to have smaller type than others. It's whatever. There were typewriters, and I used one that had different colored ribbons. Well, actually, it was one ribbon with red, black, and white. And so you normally use the black. You could use the red when you needed to, and the white was there to correct things with. If you hit the wrong letter, you'd go back one and hit the white thing, and it would correct it, make it 0. There were some noiseless typewriters. Typewriters were very noisy, so in the early 1900s, a lot of companies wanted them to be silent or noiseless or whatever. That was a big deal. The first electric typewriter was in 1870, which is stupid because nobody really started using them until about 1925. And Remington supplied a whole bunch of them to a motor company, and they supplied 2,500 of them, and that's what got the ball rolling. In 1828, Delco, which is a division of General Motors, purchased that company, and that business was spun off as Electromatic Typewriters. That company was acquired by IBM in 1933. IBM then spent $1 million redesigning the Electromatic typewriter and launched the IBM Electric Typewriter Model 01. So there you are. But in 1961, the whole thing got blown up, and that's because of the typewriter behind me, the IBM Selectric. And it had a spherical type ball, which is a little bit smaller than a golf ball, and it used a system of latches and metal tapes and pulleys that were driven by an electric motor to rotate the ball into the correct position, strike it against the ribbon and platen, and oh God, it was awesome. It was just awesome. Huge commercial success, dominated the office typewriter market for at least 2 decades. IBM also marketed heavily to schools with the idea that students who learned on a Selectric would later choose that one. But they also found out, hey, we're selling a ton of these to schools. So, there you go. Let's see here. They started doing some crazy advanced things to the IBM Selectric to make them compete toward the end, but it did not work out. The Smith Coronas had interchangeable ribbon cartridges, including fabric, film, erasing, 2 colors. And I remember my mother had one of those as a cartridge. You popped in, you could pop it out, put another color in. And that's when the electronic typewriters begin. Now, an electronic typewriter is different than an electric typewriter in that an electric typewriter just uses electricity to do the same thing a manual typewriter will do. An electronic typewriter is kind of a hybrid between a computer and a typewriter. So you can actually store words in an electronic typewriter. It will memorize things so that if you have a final paragraph that's the same all the time, or your salutation, you can just hit a certain function button and it'll automatically remember it and print it. Most of them were using either a daisy ball, like the Selectric had, or a daisy wheel, which was just a wheel with all the letters on it. Okay, today technology changes very quickly, and we take that for granted. Anybody remember their zip drive? Anyway, typing technology changed very, very little in its first 80 to 90 years. And due to falling sales, IBM sold, and this is amazing to me, but IBM sold its typewriter division in 1991 to the newly formed Lexmark, completely exiting the typewriter market. Just said, forget the whole thing. And Smart, late today, here we go. I doubt you can hear it. The increasing dominance of personal computers, desktop publishing, the introduction of low-cost, super high-quality laser and inkjet printer technologies, plus the web, email, texting, those have pretty much all replaced the typewriter. But still, as of 2009, typewriters continue to be used by a number of government agencies and other institutions in the United States, where they're primarily used to fill pre-printed forms. According to a Boston typewriter repairman, every maternity ward has a typewriter, as well as funeral homes. Now, I think that's going away because now we have the pre-printed form on the computer and we can just type it in on the computer, but whatever. There are specialized markets for typewriters that exist due to the regulations of correctional facilities in the United States, where prisoners are prohibited from having computers or access to telecommunications equipment, but they are allowed to own typewriters. And so the Swintech Corporation of Moonachie, New Jersey, produces typewriters at its overseas factories in Japan, Indonesia, and or Malaysia, and they manufacture a variety of typewriters for use in prisons made of clear plastic, so that you can't hide anything in it. And as of 2011, that company had contracts with prisons in 43 states. I think these people are missing out. Now, here's a Lucky Strike extra from your good buddy Tom Gully, Swintech Corporation. Why don't you employ the prisoners to make the typewriters? Let's see here. In 2012, Brother had a UK factory that allegedly manufactured what was the last typewriter to be made in the UK. I don't know if I believe that. The early 21st century, this century, saw a revival in interest in typewriters among certain subcultures, including makers, steampunks, hipsters, and street poets. Just the group of people you want to be associated with when launching products. There are a number of what they call correction technologies. Typewriter erasers, which was a hard rubber eraser that was in a circle, an erasing shield, which basically was a shield you put in between carbons that would only let you type in the line area so the rest of the carbon wouldn't get smudged by the pressure of the typewriter. Erasable bond, that's just paper that lets you erase. And then correction fluid. I think we all know the big story behind correction fluid. In the 50s and 60s, correction fluid made its appearance under brand names such as Liquid Paper, Whiteout, and Tipex. And it was invented by, I know some of you know this, Betty Nesmith Graham, 1924 to 1980. She died when she was 56. She was a typist, commercial artist, and the inventor of the correction fluid, liquid paper. But the reason we all know Betty Nesmith Graham is that she was the mother of musician and producer Michael Nesmith of the Monkees. And she became the executive secretary for W. Overton, the chairman of the board of the Texas Bank and Trust. And it was at this time that she and her colleagues began experiencing trouble with the new IBM Selectric typewriters. And so, tired of having to retype entire pages because of one small error, she determined to find a more efficient alternative. And what did she do? Well, she invented liquid paper. She used a white water-based tempera paint to start covering it. And then when other secretaries realized how well her invention worked, they flooded her with requests for her own supplies. And she sold her first batch of Mistake Out in 1956. And soon she was working full-time to produce and bottle it from her North Dallas home. Her son, Michael, who would later become spectacularly famous, no longer with us, a wonderful man. If you've never seen elephant parts, see elephant parts. I was lucky enough on Facebook, and I wouldn't say we were friends, but I had a friendly chat relationship with Michael Nesmith. Very brief, no big deal. But I love Michael Nesmith, and I love the Monkees. So he and his friends, Michael Nesmith, friends, helped to actually bottle and fill all these orders. She continued experimenting with the makeup of the substance until she achieved the perfect combination of paint and several other chemicals, and she named it liquid paper. She applied for a patent and a trademark the same year. That company experienced tremendous growth over the next decade. By 1967, the company had its own corporate headquarters, an automated production plant, and sales were in excess of 1 million units per year. In 1975, she moved operations into a 35,000 square foot international liquid paper headquarters building in Dallas. Eventually, she opted to sell the company to the Gillette Corporation for over $47.5 million in 1979. And with that money, she established two foundations, the Gihon Foundation, which gave grants and support to promote women in the arts, and the Betty Claire McMurray Foundation, which did the same for women in business. She died shortly afterwards in 1980 due to the complications of a stroke. She left her fortune to Michael Nesmith, who took over her foundations that empower striving women. So he inherited half of her $50 million estate. So they are on that whole whiteout thing. We can talk a little bit more about QWERTY if you want. QUERTY. One explanation for the reason that QWERTY was come up to is that the old style manual typewriters, all of these type bars were really close together. And if two letters were close together in the type bars and you struck them at fast enough pace, they'd get tangled. QWERTY was an attempt to separate the most popular letters so that that wouldn't happen anymore. Yeah. So there's keyboards for other languages, and those may or may not have QWERTY. Just depends on how close they are to English. Here's just a few of the things, and I know this is going on pretty long, and I know it's probably pretty boring to most of you, but that's what we're about here. Here is some terminology from the typewriter that has survived into the computer era. Backspace, return or carriage return, cursor, cut and paste, dead key, line feed, shift, tab. There you go. Writers with notable association with typewriters are Henry James. Mark Twain was an early adopter of the typewriter. William S. Burroughs, J.R.R. Tolkien, Jack Kerouac, excuse me. And he, like me, is a fast typist. He was 100 words a minute. He typed his famous novel On the Road, not on individual sheets, but on a roll of paper, so he wouldn't be interrupted by having to change the paper. Yeah. And there's people that are still, Harlan Ellison, legendary science fiction writer, used typewriters his whole career, and when he was no longer able to have them repaired, he learned how to repair them himself. He repeatedly stated his belief that computers are bad for writing. Maintaining art is not supposed to be easier. Cormac McCarthy, I believe he wrote The Road and a lot of other things, wrote all of his novels on an Olivetti Latera 32 until his death. He obtained that particular typewriter from a pawn shop in 1963 and wrote all of his novels and screenplays on it. That was auctioned for charity at Christie's for over $250,000. And he was alive at the time and let him auction it. He got the money, and then he got an identical replacement for $20 and kept writing on it. Another person who enjoyed typing on a manual typewriter, a fellow by the name of Ted Kaczynski. Look him up. Tom Hanks uses and collects manual typewriters, and to control the size of his collection, he gifts autographed machines to appreciative fans and repair shops around the world. And that is the rest of that's all I got on keyboards, guys. Typewriters, sorry. I'm sorry to just bother you with this today, but I couldn't think of another topic. And it seemed like it would be a good topic, and I'm wrong. It's not. It's a horrible topic. And now, your comments. Let me see. Yeah, I hate and hail French fries. They should have a combination, invented a combination typewriter piano. I think they did. When John does his typing, sometimes. The Doctorn says, it's mechanical, sometimes electrical, often functional, used by an intellectual, never punctual, never emotional. The typewriter. Chunk, chunk, chunk. Whoosh. Ding. Yep, that's the noise. When I got to my first advertising job, there was this amazing guy. And I know we have a guy here named Randy Ramos. We had a guy at the advertising agency named Randy Ramos. And he was from New York. He's Puerto Rican. And he came to me. I was an intern there, and then they hired me, and they gave me an office. So he comes into me the day I was hired, into my office, and he's like, and we'd talked. I knew who he was and stuff like that. We were friendly. And he goes, hey, way to go. Brand new job. You don't go to any of these fishwives around here. If you want something, you need something, you come to Randy. I'm your guy. You need it, I'll get it. Okay, I'm your guy. He was the mailroom guy and did deliveries for the agency and things like that. And I said, and sitting on the floor, sort of in the corner, was an old manual typewriter. And I went, well, I don't need that typewriter over there. And he went, what, you can't lift it? 2 seconds after, I'll move the world for you. Anyway, Julian says typewriters were needed. What else were we going to do with all that typing paper? Exactly. It would have been useless. Julian with the zinger. Yes. Star Mountain is back. The fog is lifted. The earth has shifted. You knew he'd be back. Anyway, that typewriter has a smiley face. Look at it. It does. Happy to see you. People saying hi. The most cheerful chat room in the history of the internet is verified by independent sources. By the way, like, share, subscribe, notification bell, retweet, all those things that you can do for free that help serve the almighty algorithm. We do have super chats. We do have memberships if you'd like to avail yourselves of those. And we've already shattered our goal today of any amount of money because the Doctorn was nice enough to donate $10. But please turn on your gifted memberships. It tells how at the bottom of the screen. And if somebody gifts some and yours are turned on, you could get one. So yeah. People saying hi, most cheerful chat room on the internet as verified by independent sources. Star Mountain, I failed typing class and somehow became a journalist editor years later. I love typing class. I took 2 years of typing in high school. And I was the only dude in both classes that were filled with 30 people. I was surrounded by chicks. And in one of them, when I was a sophomore, I think it was a sophomore, the hottest senior girl sat right next to me. And this was the worst part of it. She was super nice and super friendly, which actually made it harder. Phrasing. Julian Zeezer says, Selectric wouldn't jam unlike older designs, which would jam if you hit 2 keys in close succession. Exactly, Julian Zeezer. Black and red. Jean 1313's got it. She knows it. Dupadoo says, that's awesome that you became a journalist editor years later. It really is. I type fast with 3 fingers. Yes, you're a hunting pecker. I can play guitar but can't type. Guitar. Play guitar. The doctor says, I looked at my door because I thought the damned ice cream truck was on my street. Well, you can come have ours. Those little bastards have endless energy. They do. Sorry, wrong show. What show did you mean to put? Let's see. Ringo Starr's mom, says the Looney Tunes critic. Ringo Starr's mom, Mike's mom, yeah. Mike Nesmith. Right here in Dallas, right here in DFW. Star Mountain says, anyone remember Romy and Michelle's high school reunion? My dad invented Post-its. Well, actually, the invention of Post-its, we ought to do a show on that. That was an accidental thing that just happened, and a guy came up with this stuff and just started using it at 3M Company because it worked and everybody started using it, and they went, Looney Tunes critic is here. Loves me some Looney Tunes. She's the reason we could erase mistakes and type, and also why the monkeys sucked during the 80s. Well, I don't know. They had some hits, but people were so crazy for the nostalgia, and the monkeys really hadn't gotten back together ever. And MTV, I don't know. I was glad when the monkeys came back in the 80s. I really was. I was super. You got to remember, I was a kid that dressed up. Me and my 3 friends dressed up as the monkeys, put their album on a little portable record player on the front porch, and would play all the songs with I had a cardboard cutout guitar and just. So yeah. What do we got here? The Doctorn, a one-man philanthropy today, has gifted 5 Tom Gully Show memberships. If indeed you have yours turned on, you may receive with them. Doctorn, thank you so much, man. Really generous. Really, really generous. Let me see. Where am I at? Let's see. Oh, God, I'm way behind here. I invented Post-its. It is funny. Oh, that was the line? It's been a while. Star Mountain said, no, you do a good job at engaging us with things. Not boring. Yeah, this one was pretty boring, I think. Betty Nesmith Graham should be on the underrated, overrated show. Excellent idea. Karen. Where's my piece of paper I write this crap down on? Oh, that's last week's. I think she might be just finding her way on that. Betty, I'll just put Nesmith. I'll probably remember from that. I miss the overrated, underrated stream. Well, that's our shining. That's our crown jewel here on the Tom Gully Show. Hey, I think we're going to have another show every week, like maybe on Tuesday, like that one, called This or That. And it's where I present you with two things, and you have to pick which one. So it'd be like the Rolling Stones or the Who. Don't do it now. Don't do it now. But that would be it. Looney Tunes says she was the reason the months sucked during the 80s. Remember word processors? You betcha. Oh, hell, word processors. Yeah, I do, because I used to demonstrate word processors. That was a job I had. I used ChatGPT to write Men Are From Mars, Women Are Batshit Crazy, says Terry Nee. I hate ChatGPT. Okay. See, I can't type. You're doing fine, Star Mountain. We can all understand what you're saying. KB 101. Oh, I got you. It was interesting. Shut up. This show, boring? Nah, I'm digging the history. Can we do ingrown toenails next? Don't you double dog dare me, man. Don't even put up fake joke stuff. I will do a show on it so damn fast it'll make your head spin. Don't tempt me. How about a show on the paranormal? Doc Torn, there's already one of those, and I believe it's on an hour before this show starts on Mondays. Maybe how paint drying is a lost form of entertainment, or grass growing, or cars rusting. Animals' sentience would be a great topic. Kind of. Terry Nee, report to the principal. Terry Nee, please report to the principal's office. Terry Nee. The thing, and I don't know that it's sentience, but the thing about animals, well, one of the things about animals that fascinates me the most is when there's hurricanes or earthquakes or tornadoes or stuff like that, the animals become aware of it. It's like, how come we didn't get the memo? Terry Nee says, I learned to type on an IBM Electric in 8th grade. It's probably Selectric. Great skill for soon to come personal computer boom. Well, I will say this. When you had to take those 3 and 6 minute typing tests and you could only, 3 errors or something like that, and you were doing it for words per minute, you had to reach a certain word per minute or just, So you had to go fast, but you couldn't make any mistakes. When I started typing on a computer, it made me 9 million times better because of that permanence of typing on a piece of paper. Hated typing class, still can't type fast without looking. Oh God, I can type so fast and I don't ever have to look. But I've been a professional writer for 40 years, so. Doc Torn. Doc Torn is the man. Doc Torn, you're just a great guy. Thank you so much. Doc Torn covered the goal for the rest of the month. I try, The Wolf says, I watched all those kind of shows. Yeah. Ooh. Wolf says he is an original Archie's 45. Sugar. Honey, honey. I can do better than that. I think I still have the Archie Sugar Sugar off of the back of a box of sugar pops, I think. You cut it out with scissors and you could play it. It would play. Terry Nee with his biceps. Terry Nee with his deceptively well-defined boomer biceps. Neither. Okay. I even had some Archie's comics. Me too. Archie never seemed like he deserved those two hot babes after him. Just saying. I nominate cosplay for overrated, underrated. But that is a good one, Doc Torn. That is a good one. That is a great one. That's a great topic for a show, actually. Maybe we'll do the topic first, and then we'll do the dis or dat. Better branding. Well, I'll take it on advisement. I'm not hating that. The Wolf is on deck. What's wrong with ChatGPT? Well, Aku, what if Google came up with a free online thing that did auto body work? What if? I don't think you'd like it. That's what ChatGPT is to a writer. Now, if ChatGPT could do as good a job as me, I wouldn't probably have as much of a problem with it, but it can't. But everybody wants to use it. Doc, okay, let's see. What bands would your this or that be? Oh, boy. See, now that's what I didn't want to have happen is we branch off and do another show. Nobody can type today. Well, of course, it's Typewriter Day. Doop-a-doo. I'd really have to think about that. TV bands. TV bands. You mean like the Partridge Family? Paint drying. Was that called? Doctor says, I triple dog dare you to do a show on ingrown toenails. And thank you for triple dog daring me, but I already wrote down, hold on. Do you see where it says ingrown toenail? We're doing one on ingrown toenails. I can never type, not just today. I type all the time. I double dog dare you to do a show. Yeah, I'm doing that. Starman. Tom, sea creatures ask humans for help and reward them with gifts, like anything caught in a net, etc. Manta rays did a ritualistic circular dance around a diver who freed a ray. Wow. My wife does over 120 words a minute. Career life as a court reporter. That's flying. Whales ask people to remove barnacles. Well, I'm sure there's communication and sentience and all that, but the one that, it's just sensing these things is 120 words a minute. It's crazy fast. There's a million stories of animals that found their way back home after being left 3,000 miles away and doing amazing things for their owners. And yeah, that's data entry crazy. It really is. Who's Archie? He's a comic book character. Well, we don't have draftsmen anymore. No, we do not. We do not. However, we do have draftsmen. They just use computers to do the drafting. There's still people doing drafting, but they use a computer. I suppose AI, if you put all the requirements in, could do the same thing. But that's the thing, is the art of writing the question or the requirements or setting up the proposition for the work that you want to have it do is, it's an art. It was a comic, I think, from the 16s, Doctor, and really corny. Oh God, it's super corny. And it was an animated series too. Aku says, Carl Jobst here on YouTube has a great video breaking down the fastest typing record. Well, Letterman used to have typing contests on his show. He used to have the fastest typer on his show. Terry needs to say, we will never remove Tom's barnacles. It's character. Exactly. I earned those barnacles. No direct communications with humans. Octopi are just as smart as us, as are whales, dolphins, manta rays, etc. That's what I'm saying. I know there's a lot of communication things that happen. It's just whether it's something in their brain or hypothalamus or whatever they have up there that can sense an earthquake's going to happen, a tornado's going to happen. I don't know. But that to me is one step beyond two creatures trying to communicate somehow, especially when they're this, smart, like whatever. Star Mount. Wow. So what was it about? Like a band trying to go pro or something? I don't even know what that's about. Star, did you ever see the documentary My Octopus Teacher? I've never seen that. Videos all over YouTube. I'm fascinated with this subject. No, way beyond that. Yeah. Well, when one of them can invent something, wake me up. When they start learning how to write and building their own dwelling. I hear that all the time. Dolphins are just as smart as humans. Really? We got a thing over here that can chart the dolphin's hertz and can figure out what the dolphin is trying to communicate. I think the dolphin has that for us. Where's your computer lab, dolphin? All right. Octopi know where you've been. Ringo Starr says so. I'm not going to doubt Ringo Starr. Star Mountain says, do it. I did. Kim Moorfield, the wolf, says, I used to love watching One Step Beyond. Dun, 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 dun. One Step Beyond. What a great documentary. This is a good documentary. It's amazing. I've seen it. Cough Monster is the better energy drink cough. Is that a brand or something? Star Mountain, they don't have thumbs. I guess you better figure out a way to grow some. I saw Flipper. They're brilliant. They called him Flipper, Flipper, faster than lightning. Anyway. I forgot about One Step Beyond. It's easy to do unless you are a fan of, was it Madness? Was that the name of the band? Madness? That did that song One Step Beyond. It was almost an instrumental. It had a pretty good MTV video. And it was and it was saxes and and a little bit of ska in there, And then every now and then on that song, it would go, One Step Beyond. Don't you remember that? People laughing at Terry Nee. That's nothing new here. Terry Nee's a crack up. How long do you bake an octopi for? I don't bake octopus, so I don't know. Madness. It was pure ska. Did they have a gobo going in that thing? I mean, it was. I mean, it was very ska-ish. But then it also had that heavy sax. That sax was almost like an R&B, like a Peered gun or something. Just a signature sax thing. I love that song, by the way. Wolf says, leave it to me to remember some obscure TV program. Hey, yes, but Wolf, do you remember Coronet Blue? Coronet Blue. Coronet Blue has an amazing story as a TV show. Okay? They made the show. Okay. And they delayed its release because they didn't think it was going to be very good. Meantime, the lead of the show, he's like, I got to get another job. So he goes off and starts working on other things. They release the show way after they made it. And it becomes a huge hit. And Frank Converse, the lead, is working on another show. He can't do it. End of Coronet Blue. And by the way, you haven't heard a cool, wild, funky, awesome theme song till you've heard Coronet Blue's theme song. It is wild. I so wish I could play it here, but I don't want to get, Doc Torn, report to the principal's office, please. Well, that was ska. I know what ska is. Do you have the Stiff Records box set? I do. Do you have the entire Desmond Decker collection? I do. I know what ska is. Jesus Christ. I know what skiffle is, too, if you want to go that far. Julian Caesar said he'd let us in, knows where he's been in his octopus's garden in the shade. Okay. Wasn't there an old movie called Benji? There's a movie about a dog called Benji. There's a bunch of movies about a dog called Benji. Doctor says, you'll never take me alive, Dupa. Terry Nee says, Cook is at 300 degrees pi square. I don't even know what that is. What are you talking about? The Wolf says, you know damn well I do. I watched it a few months ago. Probably because I told you about it. That's my secret thing. Coronet Blue, nothing but blue. Well, it's a hard time when you're giving it for the... It's so... And the editing is so mod and wild in the opening of it. After that was Secret Agent. A lot of people think Secret Agent is the precursor to The Prisoner. Well, I'm out. Later, Star Mountain, always so good to see you. Thanks for being here. Try to be here for Thursday's show, which is Overrated, Underrated. Always good to see you. But don't try to tell me what ska is, please. That's what's way out of line, buddy. Take care, Star. You do that, Star. I used to ding that song for years. Ding? Sing? Ring? Oh, man. Look at that old clock on the wall. It's a Monday night. I'm sure all of you got football games to watch. And I got things to do. Don't you know? And I made a mess here on my desk because I had to keep writing things down. I got a huge stack of 3x5 cards. It's just all over the place here. I used to sing that song. Oh, ding that song. You played it on a bell. I don't think that song has a bell. Should I try to play that? Here, let me just play the very beginning of it and see if I get in any trouble. Hopefully, God, I hope I don't get in trouble for that other thing either. You'd think that this would be public domain by now. The song is by a guy named Lenny Welch.
Who am I? Who am I?
Just
why do they want to kill me? Can't remember anything
but two words.
2 words. Coronet Blue. Coronet Blue.
Coronet Blue. Coronet Blue. Deep down inside my brain, I keep hearing that wild refrain.
I hope I don't get dinged for that. Shit. All right. Wine update for you, Tom. The Dr. Pepper wine should be finishing primary fermentation by Wednesday. Thank you for that update. Dr. Pepper wine just sounds good to me. I don't know why. The Wolf says, I think it's on Tubi. Coronet Blue is on Tubi. Yay, homemade wine. I recently watched The Prisoner. Whole series. And when you say that, it sounds like, oh boy, it's like 17 episodes or something. It's not that crazy. But it was good. Aku say, oh man, The Prisoner. The Prisoner. Jeez. The Prisoner. I know the Wolf knows about The Prisoner. Wolf really knows about The Prisoner. I'll get it by hook or by crook. Ding. Terry Nee says he tried playing the cornet. Are they going to nail me? You think they'll nail me? Because I played two things today. I played the Goal Horn, which has Gary Glitter's Rock and Soul in it, and then I played that. But Cornet Blue should have been out of copyright like a million years ago. I played the theme song yesterday. Cornet Blue. Why did my name remind you of legal issues? I don't think it did. Go back and edit it out. Well, Terry, normally what happens is they give me a little, this isn't a copyright strike, blah, 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 blah. You can choose to mute it or take it out. And I just take it out. But I just get worried. Because the last time when they give me a strike that I appealed and won the appeal, that was going to be a week, no shows. You think I can afford to lose that $7? Are you crazy, man? Anyway. All right. I got to get out of here. I got to get on up out of here like the Reverend Al Green. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. You read my chat. Let's see here. You went to read my chat, which you didn't, and you remembered The Prisoner. That's because somebody said Secret Agent, and a lot of people think the Secret Agent is the actual precursor to The Prisoner. It's like, it's undefined. They've never said it. But there's a lot of things that you can draw from Secret Agent into The Prisoner and go, okay, that's the same guy. Not a lot, but enough. Delete the show, but thousands will miss it. Not even 50 people. We were doing so well, and now, The Wolf says, no, I played The Prisoner song. I have it saved in my channel music favorites. Oh, The Prisoner song. Yeah, the two parts of the opening of The Prisoner that I can't stand. One is when the gas starts coming in the room and it's just him going like this. I don't like that part. And then, as you and I have discussed, Wolf, the part where he's running on the beach. Somebody should have took Patrick McGowan aside and said, no wide shots of you running. In fact, even the tight shots of just, none of those either, please. You look awful when you do it. It's terrible. Say goodnight, Gracie. Good night, Gracie. Aku Mugen says, Secret Agent makes me think of the song Man for All Seasons, or the Rowan Atkinson spy movies. Johnny English. All right, ladies and gents, that'll clock on the wall. We already did that part. I guess there's nothing left to say except two things. Number one is, if you have ever wondered what it would be like to be completely beguiled by a show on the ingrown toenail, well, I think you might want to be here tomorrow at about 8 o'clock Eastern time. And till next time, we'll see you next time.
They call me Mr. Lucky. but I